وعلى علي ibn al-Hussein وعلى أولاد al-Hussein وعلى أصحاب al-Hussein. Respected scholars, Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, and fellow Americans, please stop where you are and turn your full attention to me so that I can give you an important message. I'm sure you're wondering what we're doing here, dressed in black, beating our chests, crying, and reciting poetry. We're here today to commemorate the day of Ashura, this 10th day of the month of Muharram, the day the family of our holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was brutally martyred in the city of Karbala by the army of Yazid. This story dates back to approximately 1400 years ago. There were evil dictators and unethical men in power who wrongfully stole the leadership from the rightful grandson of the Prophet of Islam. This evil dictator's name was Yazid. He tried changing Islam and the values that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, revealed to this world in order to make it a non-spiritual, materialistic, and violent religion, which it is not. Anyone who dared to disagree or rebel against Yazid's orders or wishes was brutally tortured and murdered. With time, the conditions in Karbala worsened, and the people in the land turned to the brave and courageous Hussein. Hussein, the son of Ali and Fatima, ventured out on a long journey from his home in Medina to the sacred land of Karbala, Iraq, to save the values and morals of this religion. His motive was completely divine, for the sake of God, and not for materialistic gain. His main objective was to reinstate and uphold justice, enjoin good and forbid evil. Charles Dickens, the English novelist, once said, "If Hussein had fought to quench his worldly desires, then I do not understand why his sister, wife, and children accompanied him. It stands to reason, therefore, that he sacrificed purely for Islam." On the night of Muharram, Imam Hussein was granted one last night in which he prayed. He told his 72 companions that he appreciated their dedication to him and would not hold it against them if they wanted to leave on this last night and save their lives. Not a single man left the Imam's side that night. They knew there could not possibly be a leader more pure, honest, or compassionate as Imam Hussein, peace be upon him. And along with that, in this last night, he also was giving the oppressors one last chance to come on the right path. One man from the tyrant's army realized his great mistakes, came to his senses, and asked for forgiveness. His name was Hazrat Hur. He gave his sons and his own life for the sake of Imam Hussein. Imagine a place with scorching hot weather, no food to eat, not even a single drop of water to drink. Hussein had a beloved team of 72 brave warriors who loved him so much that they were willing to sacrifice themselves to protect him and the true Islam. His team included his close friends, nephews, brothers, and even his sons. What can I say about his nephews? On and Muhammad, sons of his beloved sister, Zainab, grandsons of Ali and Jafar al-Tayyar. These two brothers showed the utmost courage against the oppressors for the love of their dear uncle. Qasim, the son of his deceased brother, Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Salat. Qasim, who said to his uncle that death for this cause is sweeter for me than honey. His body was trampled by horses moments after his last breath on the battlefield. His brother, the flag bearer, Abbas, Sakka, the thirst quencher, protector of the veil, the symbol of loyalty. His niece, Sakina, the daughter of Hussein, told him that all the children were thirsty, so he went to the Euphrates River and filled Sakina's water container with water without drinking any, in remembrance of all the thirsty women and children in the tents. When he began to make his way back to the children, the enemy shot an arrow at him, cutting both of his arms off, but he was still determined to take water back to Sakina. He was able to secure the water container by clenching it between his teeth. When that last arrow was shot, piercing into the water container, causing all of the water to spill out. With the water streaming out of the water container, so did all of his hopes for quenching the thirst of the children. His last wish to his brother was to not have his body taken to the tent because he was remorseful that he could not bring water to the children. Imam Hussein's backbone, Abbas, was no more. If only Hazrat Abbas knew that Sakina would never drink water again after losing her beloved uncle, and she would have preferred to have him back rather than to have water. His 18-year-old son, Ali Akbar, whose face resembled our beloved Prophet so much that people would come from afar just to get a glimpse of him. Ali Akbar, whose ill sister was waiting for him in Medina. How was he killed? With a spear going through his chest. With Abbas gone, who was going to help Imam Hussein carry Ali Akbar back to the tent? A 6-month-old child who was so thirsty and his tongue was so dry that his father went to beg the oppressor to give this innocent baby some water. Instead, these animals shot him with a 3-pronged arrow that went through his throat, creating a pool of blood in the hands of Imam Hussein. Eventually, all of his beloved followers were martyred. With no men left in the camp, his sister Zainab had to help him mount his horse. Standing alone, the Imam cried out, "Hal min Nasir and Yansurna? Is there anyone to help me?" With no response, the army of Yazid began to attack Imam Hussein. When the time for Asr prayer came, Imam had to pray on a bed of arrows. Imam Hussein did not even finish his prayer when the enemy beheaded him while he was prostrating on the sands of Karbala. This was the alleged bravery of that cruel army. They beheaded him when he could not even defend himself. Mahatma Gandhi said, "I learned from Hussein how to achieve victory while being oppressed." Physically, it can be argued that Hussein lost the battle of Karbala because he achieved martyrdom on the sands of Karbala and his companions were slaughtered. Subsequently, his sister's daughters and the other women were held as prisoners. However, in retrospect, he was the greatest victor the world has ever seen. Today, 1400 years later, his sacrifice is still remembered and commemorated. Imam Hussein stated that a death of dignity is better than a life of oppression. He set a precedent that oppression of any form needs to be put down and no oppression will be tolerated, no matter the race, color, ethnicity, or religion of the victim. Do you see that flag over there at the top? This is the symbol that represents Imam Hussein's fight against oppression. The hand at the top is a symbol and a message for all of his followers that we have a duty to stop oppression. Our 6th Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, said, "Kullu yawmin Ashura, kullu ardin Karbala," which translates to every day is Ashura and every land is Karbala. This is not a literal meaning, but it represents the idea that no matter the day or the location, oppression is present. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was reminding us that we have this example of the tragedy of Karbala from which we can learn. We can't tolerate oppression, and the battle for truth and justice is an ongoing one, and it must be fought daily. Today, more than 1400 years since the sacrifice of Imam Hussein, the followers of Yazid still exist and continue to torment the followers of the Yellow Bed. Innocent lives are being lost daily in Pakistan, Bahrain, Iraq, Afghanistan, and many other places, solely for the love they have for Imam Hussein in their hearts. Why are the women and children put into this? Simply because of their love for the Yellow Bed? These oppressors are followers of Yazid, the very man who killed Imam Hussein on this day 1400 years ago. The oppressed are the lovers of Imam Hussein. We can no longer sit back quietly in the comforts of our homes while this injustice happens. We should all unite and promote the message of Imam Hussein and Lady Zainab with the example of Ashura before us so that we may lift the standard of truth and justice against tyranny.